So it appears that Six Flags may be opening up really soon, and the parks will be looking a lot different than what we're used to, with a lot of different measures that will be put in place. Let me explain. Hey guys, Miguel the annual pass holder here, back with the brand new video here today. So this video is going to be a little bit different. It won't be, I guess, as clean or as polished as what I'm used to making because this news just dropped and I wanted to share it with you all. So Mike Spanos just released his health and safety plan for reopening Six Flags coming up in the next few weeks or so. So this was news that was discussed in a conference call with analysts on the 30th of April. So if you guys are ready, let's get into it as I share it all with you guys right now. So again, this is Mike Spanos' plan for reopening the theme parks for the 2020 season. So in this video, there's some things that I'd like to go over with you guys that we're going to do right now. So with the Six Flags reopening plan, let's get into it to see what all this will entail. So we'll begin with the guidelines that were put in place for Six Flags to reopen. So first things first, painted markings will be put in place of 6 feet of separation between all guests that are in the queue lines. So this will be for rides, dining, so tables will be separated and not be placed next to each other, and also even parking lots. Now this is interesting because you guys may know, for example, like Six Flags Over Georgia, those parking spaces are really close to each other, so they're gonna have a different type of layout for this coming up when the park does reopen. So yes, this will involve parking lots as well. So employees will have a new task, and staff as well, at the parks, with employees will coach and direct visitors to maintain 6 feet of separation at all times at the park. So you will get called out, from what I'm seeing, that if you are too close, which you shouldn't be right now, and they will direct you on being 6 feet apart during this time while the world's trying to get acclimated with reopening up everything. So the second thing on this guideline that I want to talk about is staff will wipe down rides throughout the day. So this is a thing that a lot of Six Flags parks were doing, a lot of other theme parks were doing in general. They were doing this stuff before the parks did close, and they were adding more sanitizer stations around the park, and they were wiping down the rides. So they will continue to wipe down the rides at a massive rate that'll make a lot of us feel a lot more comfortable, including myself. So that's a really good thing that I like that I'm seeing right now. So on to different mandates. Now, this is really key and really important for things that'll be going on at the park that people really want to know about. So first things first, face masks will be required to be worn at the parks at all times. So that does make sense, but I'm not sure at this time we're recording if that means just staff or even if that includes staff and guests that visit the park. So it doesn't really have specifics as of now, but I will say, for example, like Disney does say that just staff will have to wear masks at all times and not really mentioning the guests at this time. So we will find out soon, and I know they'll have more briefings of this, but this is kind of like a pre-alpha plan for all this stuff as we trickle along for when the parks will reopen. So hand washing stations will be installed all around the park. Now this is a really good thing because I have seen at different parks the different mobile hand washing stations where you can like use a foot pedal and then the water will come down. You can use a soap and then wash your hands right there. They're super cool, super helpful. I like this a lot, and I always carry hand sanitizer around me at every theme park I visit, even before all this happened. So this is a really good thing. We'll be having hand sanitizer stations all around the park as well, just like they did on opening day of the 2020 season, and all other Six Flags parks did roll out while they were open for the 2020 season for the short little stint that they were. So that's awesome that they're going to be keeping that, and it's definitely needed. So the big thing that people were really worrying, step 4 listed on this list of mandates, is temperature checks will be issued before entry into the parks. Now, this is very crucial. Now, especially, say, for example, theme parks in the South. We'll talk about like Six Flags Over Georgia, for example. Now, in June or July or August, the park gets extremely hot. And this can really alter people's temperatures where they can get a little bit overheated because of it could be 100 degrees outside. Now, I wonder what type of area are they going to do this at? Where will this be located? How will it go down? We'll definitely find out soon. Temperature checks will be issued before entry into the park. So this is a really big thing for staff and guests, it appears. So yeah, that's really good. We did see this coming and people were wondering how they were going to go about it. So yeah, they're already stating that temperature checks and face masks will be the new norm, according to Mike Spanos at Six Flags. And honestly, not just him saying that, but at other theme parks in general too as well. So the next thing is that they will be limiting the amount of riders waiting in queue lines. So let's tackle that first. So there won't be a lot of people. Just like I said in a recent live stream, the lines may be really backed up with the 6 feet of separation. it may be a while before people will be able to ride a certain ride because you'll only be allowed to have X amount of people in those queue lines, as it's saying right there, that they're going to limit the amount so it's not cluttered. So if it's a new ride, a new attraction, it won't be jam packed at all. It won't be allowed. It can't be allowed. So there will be a limited amount of people in those queue lines. So it'll be spaced out. And I'm curious to see how it'll be. As I mentioned, they will have these painted markings on the ground to make sure that you stand on it, just like how you've seen in some of these grocery stores, how they have the markers to separate the people. That's what'll be happening. So it'll be a limited amount of people waiting in queue lines. Now, boarding coasters. This is something I thought of too that was crazy. So, say for example, it may be, say it's a party of two, you and like a brother or sister of yours, you and your party in the front row, nobody in the second row, somebody in the third row, the fifth row, and not in the fourth row, and so on and so forth. So it's going to be at half capacity for the queue lines. The shortened amount of people that will be allowed in the queue lines, man, it's about to be really interesting, but they have to, handle this that's going on. This is what's being laid out at the parks so that we can be back at the parks, and also that they ensure our safety. And lastly, that goes for all type of rides too, including flat rides and everything. So there'll be a limited amount of people waiting in the queue lines, boarding other rides, and even going into attractions as well. Huge thing too, the next thing on this list, which is the second to last, is constant wipe downs of rides and railings and queue lines. This is very important. Obviously, people touch the handrails left and right all the time. So this is a big thing for them to wipe down the queue line railings because it is definitely needed. Again, I try to avoid touching them at all costs myself just before all this. But it's important for them to wipe them down as they are going to do, as they're stating here. So that's very good. I like that a lot. And last but not least here on this list of mandates is that these parks will be operating at a much lower capacity. So as I display as well, it'll vary per state. So now what does this mean? This means that they'll be operating at a 50% or a 75% capacity at the beginning, most likely 50%. Now, so is it possible that they could start with Diamond and Diamond Elite members that have access to the parks first because obviously they're at the higher tier of the food chain with the memberships? So could they be going first for a while, for a week or so, or a weekend or so? Then possibly they see how everything goes, and then they open up the park for more tier memberships, and then later on possibly just general guests. There's just my thoughts on maybe that's possible if they do that. We don't know. So what do you guys think? Now, in reality and all in all, we'll be operating at a much, much lower capacity than what we're used to. Now, they did do a survey with Six Flags members, and then people were saying that they would be much more comfortable operating at a 25% less capacity than normal. Those are just the results of a survey that a lot of Six Flags members did take. With this quote from Mike Spanos, he says that Six Flags would ramp up attendance based on state and local guidelines. This will vary state to state on different restrictions and guidelines, and they can, for one, open back up to the capacity of the amount of people that they can have in the parks. And last but not least, something that I wanted to talk about that Mike Spanos did mention are other effective tactics. Now, this is awesome. They are working on virtual queuing, which I like a lot. So you can go get some food, you can stroll around the park, you can sit down, you can walk around, go on other rides, and then while you're waiting, you'll have to sign up for the virtual queuing on the app. The app will be very, very important during this time from here on out. Virtual queuing will help out with the spacing. Obviously, a lot of people won't be waiting in the traditional standby line. They'll be able to just, again, go into the app, click the ride that you want to ride, and then you can get in the virtual queue for it. Most likely, it'll give you a good amount of time frame of when you need to be at the ride's entrance. So the next thing on the list, mobile ordering. Six Flags has already issued this at a lot of their parks. Now, at Six Flags Over Texas, it already did come out where mobile ordering has been really effective and it's been going super, super well. And then I did see in the Six Flags Over Georgia app, for example, that they did say, and as I displayed on opening day of the 2020 season, that mobile ordering was already coming. So it's definitely going to be in full effect at all Six Flags parks in general from here on out. Third on this list, cashless transactions. Now, a lot of Six Flags parks have already done this, and even my home park of Six Flags Over Georgia in certain sections have already issued from last year, the 2019 season. You can only use your debit card or even possibly Apple Pay. This is a good thing, so there won't be the transfer of money, which money is already dirty. It won't be the transfer of money from person to person. So it'll just be, hey, swipe your card there, swipe your card, and you're all good, and you move on with your items or your food purchases. So this is a really good thing that I do like. Last but not least here on this list, Mike Spanos mentions other technology to assist in a contactless environment. Now, we don't know what he's referring to and what's being worked on, but it sounds really good and it sounds like it's really going to be effective. So, other things that they plan to put out and issue at all the Six Flags parks that will help build a contactless environment. So, I'm curious to see what you guys think on that, what they have in store to have this plan take shape to make this happen. So, guys, I just wanted to share this news with you all and also put in my little 2 cents in on it, share my thoughts on what Mike Spanos reported, give you guys a little bit of insight on everything on what this might mean, what will occur, and how things will go down if there was a little bit of confusion. When he did state that he does plan to have the parks reopen within the next 2 to 3 weeks at the time of recording. Guys, share your thoughts with me on what you guys think. Of course, the article for this will be posted in the link in the description down below. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you guys at the park again soon. Take care, guys. So if you enjoyed the video, you can support the channel via Patreon, where we have all new live streams and exclusive content and giveaways that are dedicated to the patrons on the exclusive Miguel the Annual Passholder Patreon page. And also, if you like looking nice, you can support the channel via our merchandise shop at annualpassholder.shop. You can find amazing t-shirts and hoodies, such as this one, that you guys can purchase for the low. And feel free to hit that subscribe button and turn it from red to gray, and like this video if you enjoyed yourself. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much, and have a thrilling day.